With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, 29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
Happy Friday, everybody. Friday starts the weekend, and we are here to make your weekend a profitable one through the props betting market. I'm Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Prop It Up. Listen, we love props, and props go across all sports, and we have a ton of sports to go over. We're going to talk a little bit of baseball. We're going to talk some UFC. We're going to talk some CFL and NFL, and then, of course, we're going to have our Prop It Up bet of the week coming at the end of the show. So let's get right into it. Joining me, as always, my fellow prop masters, Matt Josephs, who we did not know we were going to have today. And he sent the message in, and we were like, oh, great, Matt's going to join us. No, I'm just kidding. Matt has a 5% NFL future that is up, and it is a fantastic one, and Matt is going to drop some knowledge on us just getting back from some media days. That is really cool to always get some insider information. And joining me, as always, is Andrew McInnis from WagerTalk.com. We're going to talk some CFL, and we have a huge UFC card. We don't normally talk UFC, but this card is noteworthy because there's a lot of props that we can get into. So, Matt, you've got a really good 5% play that is up, but you set a really interesting topic about being cautious on Major League Baseball coming out of the All-Star break, and I really believe in this one. So talk to us a little about how you're going to approach the All-Star. I did not have any plays yesterday. I think we may only have like one or two over the weekend. So talk to us about how important it is to just manage your bankroll and be careful coming out of the All-Star break here.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like teams are going to decide whether or not they want to let their starters go a little bit after this time, because it's a catch-22. The starters are all rested. Everybody's on regular rest, including the guys that pitched in the All-Star game. They'll go later on in the weekend, but you also have a fresh bullpen, and for some of these teams like the Yankees and the Astros and some of these other squads that have really good bullpens, I could see them only going 5 innings with some of these starters. And we saw yesterday, which, as you said, it was an odd card yesterday, 2 random doubleheaders, the Giants and Dodgers playing the start of a 4-game series, and then a really random Rangers Marlins 1-game series in Miami. So it was kind of an easy card to pass on because I don't bet doubleheaders, and I certainly don't bet random 1-game series because you never know what you're going to get in that sort of thing. So, noticing yesterday there was a lot of strikeouts, but not a lot of pitchers going deep. So it could be one of those things where you're trying to ask your starting pitchers, if you're taking K-prop overs, to only do it in 5 innings. So I'm going to be a little cautious. There'll be a K-prop or two that'll probably be up a little bit later, still doing some research on some things and kind of looking at past years. But this is the time, at least early on, that you're almost like resetting the season. Everybody's fresh, bullpen, starters, and it kind of goes off of managers' philosophies. Do they want their starters going deep and saving the bullpen, or do they want to use the bullpen early and let their starters kind of ease back into this quote-unquote second half?
You brought up one team, and it was a completely odd schedule yesterday. If you profited yesterday, congratulations, because it was a tough one. The Marlins, they can't score. Is this going to be I believe they've scored 1 run in their last 4 games. Is this an anomaly, or is this a team that is just getting ready to sell everybody? And is this a team possibly that could be a really, really good fade material over the next couple of weeks? I don't know if you've been monitoring what's going on with the Marlins, but to me, from a hitting standpoint, it's pretty alarming. And I think we might be looking at some team total unders and just maybe fading them on the run line and money line. Matt, what's your take on what's going on with the Marlins right now?
Yeah, the Marlins, much like the A's, I'm constantly looking at for the earn runs allowed prop that you find on like DraftKings and BetMGM. I'm looking for the earn runs under, especially if it's 2.5. Like today, I'm heavily debating Spencer Howard under 2.5 against the Oakland Athletics because you're right, the Miami Marlins offense is just atrocious right now, and as we've seen. This stuff is streaky. Teams that hit a lot, they keep hitting a lot. You know, they'll have these stretches where they put up 5, 6, 7 runs, Dodgers and Yankees and so on. But like when you're scoring 1 or 2 runs a game, that's streaky too. So yeah, you could take the team total under. If you don't feel comfortable with that team's bullpen, then certainly look at the starters earn run average or the first 5 team total unders, which also have been very profitable at times. Granted, it could be 1.5, which gets a little dicey because then error in a home run, you lose. But yeah, the Marlins offense is bad. The Arizona offense, I'd watch them over the next couple of weeks because there's going to be some trades that make them a little bit worse. So definitely want to find the sellers and kind of take advantage of their team total unders or their earn run allow unders. However, you could kind of take advantage of some of these bad lineups in baseball.
We last year just did great fading these teams that are sellers. I would encourage everyone to really keep an eye on who's getting rid of players and trading for prospects. The second half of the season was so profitable just because you can find these teams that are giving up on the season. Matt, so you got back from ACC Media Day, so I'm jealous. I'm never invited to any of these things. As soon as I get up on that higher tier that you're on, maybe we can get there, Andrew. But so I guess first off, like explain a little bit what ACC Media Day is and some of the things that you encountered there, and if there's anything that can help us moving forward with this season.
So ACC Media Day, every conference in college football, both FBS and FCS, have a media day where basically you get an opportunity to interview players, interview coaches. Basically, it's a lot of cliches. Although you ask different questions, you can pull some stuff out of the coaches. And so, my radio station was one of 20 that was able to go be on Radio Row. And what'll happen is a team will walk in, they'll do 5 to 6 minute interviews with one station, then they'll move to the next one, and so on and so forth. And some of the things that I kind of learned. First off, I really think this could be the year for NC State. NC State is a team that we have hyped up before. They've had the pieces in place, and they just fall short. NC State fans who watch this or people who have bet on NC State know they're a very frustrating team, but they bring back 10 starters on defense. They bring back a gunslinger quarterback in Devin Leary who had 35 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last year. The problem with that is their big game is in Clemson, and we know how good the Tigers are. That game is October 1st in Clemson, and they rarely lose in Clemson. But I think this could be NC State's year to represent the Atlantic. And then on the other side, it's Miami's division to lose in the Coastal. And the problem with Miami is the same thing with NC State is sometimes when we hype them up, they just don't live up to it. But they bought the right coaches. They bought the right players. They have the right pieces in place. And everything schedule-wise lines up for this to be an NC State-Miami ACC championship game. I wouldn't go hog wild because, as I said, both teams in the past have had some issues in terms of living up to their expectations. The other thing I learned is that the Pitt Panthers have circled a game against Western Michigan this year. Last year, Western Michigan beat them in Pittsburgh in Heinz Field. And they did not take kindly to that. That was their only loss during the regular season. And talking to the players and hearing from the coach himself, Pat Narduzzi, they have that game. It's a road trip to Kalamazoo this year. But they have certainly circled that thing, which is interesting. They're playing Tennessee. They're playing West Virginia. But a lot of the talk this year was we need to beat Western Michigan after what they did to us last year. So it's little nuggets of information that you could kind of pick up from the coaches, talking about pace and things like that, that you could certainly carry over to the regular season.
That's got to be so beneficial for you, Matt, to be able to you're out there doing a job and interviewing players, coaches. But at the end of the day, you're also going to be able to benefit off that as far as your bankroll goes. I mean, if I was you, it'd be hard for me not to ask questions that would be correlated to your best. So 7 wins for you guys this season, 6. What are you thinking, Coach? I mean, that's pretty cool for you that you're doing a job in media, but like you just said, you can take what you've learned and definitely turn that into betting knowledge as well.
I do think it's funny at SEC Media Day, they asked the Arkansas coach, or somebody said to the Arkansas coach, "Hey, coach, you're 16-6 against the spread," and I think he replied like "Go Hogs" or something like that. So somebody did try to ask, but yeah, it's good. You get little tidbits of information, and for the people, like every conference does it, and like I understand that a lot of people don't have time necessarily to read the headlines and things like that, but every once in a while, if you just get these little tiny things, what has Teddy said to all of us? Go read the quotes and things like that. Well, sometimes you can pick up little things from that.
Big news coming out of Miami. I mean, they get rid of the turnover chain, so surely that's got a big adjustment for the win total. I'm on the fence about this one, Matt. I don't want to spend too much time. I really enjoyed the turnover chain. I thought now everyone stole the idea and then made it just ridiculous. There's turnover frisbees and what who else knows what there is. I kind of like the turnover chain, but at the same time, the coach is like, no, we're going to play like adults here. I don't know, like that thing, is that a symbol that this is a team that's turning the corner and maybe they can get rid of some of these silly mistakes that cost them games that they have no business losing, or is this much ado about nothing? Oh, I'm serious. I think this is an interesting. I think this is an interesting storyline. Andrew, you're laughing at me, and I have some of the most ridiculous theories on betting sports, like
Andy, I'm laughing
golfers that just have babies because their sleep schedule is all messed up, and it works. I'm telling you,
I know
it works.
That's why I'm chuckling though, because all of these theories that Andy has make sense. Like, what's that one you have? The new tattoo theory? Like, what is that? But
you fade. You fade UFC fighters with bad tattoos who are facing UFC fighters with good tattoos, because if you can't sharpen up your tattoo, it means either A, you're lazy, or B, you haven't been winning and you don't have enough money. And if you're facing somebody that has a really good tattoo, it means they've been winning and they have prize money and they take pride in the art that's on their body. And I'm telling you, this hits all the time. So I don't know, Matt. Turnover chain, getting rid of it, good or bad for Miami?
Well, by the way, the other thing, my dad always taught me to bet on the horse at the track that just took a dump before the race because they're a little lighter, a little lighter in the weight. So, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I do like your theories there. I think it could be a signaling of a little bit of maturity. The turnover chain fit Miami perfectly because they hated it, and everybody who doesn't love Miami likes to hate Miami, so it fit them perfectly. But yeah, maybe it shows that they're trying to turn the corner and they're trying to be a more mature bunch. Although I don't know how well that's going to fit them. Miami had their best time when Michael Irvin was there and all these guys, and everybody hated Miami. So we'll see if it works. But yeah, Andy, it could be interesting to see. Maybe it's one of those things where it doesn't work out early, but then in the middle of the season, they bring back the turnover chain and it galvanizes everybody and they make a run towards the end of the year.
Love it. Great stuff from Matt Josephs at sportsmemo.com. It's got a great 5% NFL future up. You can grab that now. Andrew, coming to you. So we're going to talk some CFL. We're going to talk some UFC, and then I got a fun little NFL game to play. Let's talk CFL. We were talking about it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching CFL last night. The poor guy trying to return kicks for Montreal. It was just like, pause if you have to go to the bathroom or get a drink every time the other team was kicking, because it was like, this guy's going to do something. It's going to be spectacular. He dropped pretty much everything that came to him. At one point, he dropped a kick, picked it up, ran into his own end zone, and got tackled for a safety. And I thoroughly love the announcers trying to figure out the instant replays. They're wrong 95% of the time. They're like, well, clearly he caught it, and then the ref's like, incomplete. So I don't know.
So, I'll tell you what, Andy, anyway, one thing I've learned in the CFL is if you want to know what the call is going to be, don't judge based on what the commentators are telling you. If you think it's going to be pass interference and they're saying it's not, don't take their word for it. I've learned that a lot of times. Wait till the referees make their call. But a lot of people were actually frustrated last night with the game, with how many reviews there were, and it was just kind of like many. How the game slowed down. Yeah, too many, and like they're trying to, CFL has a lot of reviews and pass interference and everything. You can challenge a lot of stuff, but it becomes a little bit too much sometimes, especially when you're going to the command center. It's just it just makes the game so much longer. But Andy, The funny thing is about that guy you're talking about, Worthy, he actually has had an exceptional season. So for that to happen, and of course it's the game you're watching intently, because everybody that I try to get into CFL ends up watching the games with all the bloopers. But it actually was a pretty close game, an entertaining game either way. But that stuff is just unbelievable. And the funny thing is like obviously special teams is important in every single football league. But when it's a league with only 3 downs, punting, kicking, field goals are just that much more important. And also when you run into your own end zone and get tackled, that 1 point that you're giving up, that can cost your team the game, especially when the point spread in that game last night was 2.5 points. So, these single points all add up. And that was just, I didn't even know what was happening. He turns around, like just take the tackle and stay, out of the end zone. So I thought that was quite ridiculous.
So I guess bring us up to speed on what's going on with CFL. To me, just watching, I watched both games last night, and boy, it seems like the haves and the have-nots. I mean, the caliber of play from the first game to the second game was, to me, the eye test. I was like, wow, these two teams. I think it was the Ticats and BC. It just felt like, wow, you really got pretty good separation. So we're really into the season. So I think we've got enough sample size to kind of get a feel for what's going on. So bring us up to speed from a prop standpoint, and also just from overall teams where we stand at with CFL. Like, who are the good teams, who are the bad teams, anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. Well, I mean, like you said, the haves and the have-nots have become very clear. The problem is here, right now in the CFL, it was supposed to be a year where the East might have had a little more talent than the West, or at least been more competitive, or at least been able to compete with them a little bit. But at this point, the way it stands, the West has just dominated the East. And there's been a lot of East versus West competition so far to start the year off. Right now, it's actually hard for me to tell you who the best teams are in the Eastern Division, because a lot of them aren't playing very well. They're not meeting their potential. Ottawa is at the bottom. They continue to be a fade. They're a team that last year they were, getting blown out every game. Now they've improved their defense a little bit. They're keeping games closer. But then you'll have games like last night where they're giving up, over 30, 40 points. And that's just something you can't let happen. As far as out in the West, Winnipeg at the top of the league again. They remain undefeated. They had a big game against BC. Everybody said BC might be the new Winnipeg. No, not so fast. They beat them by 20 points. Injuries really is what I wanted to talk about today, Andy. And I can't believe we're still talking about this because, yes, I understand COVID is still a thing, but I didn't think we'd have any more games being postponed or canceled because of COVID. And we actually had a game, Toronto versus Saskatchewan, which was a second game of a home and home, pushed back one day. So you tell me what you think that is, but one extra day. So that's been moved from Saturday to Sunday. But there's just a lot of teams right now that have just a handful. Edmonton has dealt with some. Winnipeg has dealt with some. Saskatchewan has a grocery list right now full of injuries. So when I'm looking at a lot of these props right now, I just think that you're finding some value on the secondary and third options. Whereas honestly, before, when I went 2-0 a couple weeks ago on this show giving out CFL props, the guys I gave out was an all-star running back and a top-tier wide receiver. This week, when all the numbers start to settle, I'll be looking down the depth charts, at these guys that are looking at over 20, 25 yards, because those are the guys that will be getting the touches. I don't think the books will be able to keep up with that. But as for right now, Andy, I'm going to start betting a lot of team totals as well. There's a lot of backdoor covers in the CFL, a lot of crazy second halves and fourth quarters where I kind of want to just isolate these team totals, whether it's betting an under or an over. And I will have one for us at the end of the show.
Very excited, and you can get all of Andrew's CFL for the rest of the season using the promo code CFL299. It gets $100 off of the rest of the CFL season. That is promo code CFL299. Go ahead and take advantage of that because, CFL, great way to add to the bankroll. As we mentioned before, Matt Joseph's got a 5% NFL future up. Andrew doing CFL. And I've got a 5% UFC play that is up right now. And Andrew, great segue. I want to talk UFC. I feel like sometimes props are a little bit tougher in UFC, but we got an amazing card over in London where I think there's a lot of favorites. You know, whenever they do this card over in London, let's face it, they want to hand the English fighters some really good wins. So there's a lot of juice, and if you're not too interested in trying to parlay these guys together or taking some of these big numbers, props and finishes are a way to go. So, Andrew, first off, what's your take on this card here? And then I've got some specific props here to go over. So, first off, what's your take on this London card?
Well, first of all, I think you're definitely right about that. A lot of times that when you've got fighters playing, near or closer to where they're from, and in the UFC all the time, you kind of you see these hand-picked fights happen. Who's to say there won't be some upsets? Hey, sometimes we do see it happen in front of people's family and loved ones, but it sets up for that way. But Andy, I really like this card, and my card for clients this week's going to be a real mixed bag of totals, method of victories, and just of straight up money lines. And there's some underdogs I like, some favorites I like. And you talk about, what you can do with these favorites and what you can do even with underdogs. I'm curious to how you look at props with UFC. We haven't really discussed it too much together besides, maybe like a year or two ago talking about our plays really. But, you've got your 5% play up. By the way, I really encourage everybody to check that out. You've had that up for 2 weeks now. But I want to really ask you, do you ever, is it more so about the odds? Like if you have like a really juiced favorite that you're looking at that method of victory because of that? Or is it, you have like a minus 125, but you say, screw that, I want the better price. I know how they're going to win that fight. Or do you ever play both? Because that's one thing, Andy, that I'm trying to get into now. And I'm doing this week is, a 2% play on the money line for somebody, and then a 1% method of victory on how I think they're going to win. What are your thoughts on stuff? And do you ever do those type of bets where it's on the money line, but also taking them, this is how I think they're going to win?
Yeah. So method of victory, I don't do them all the time. And I think this is something that could really trip people up. So there are some great spots where instead of taking a fighter to win, you should be taking them on method of victory. And I'll just point out the most obvious one this week, Andrew, Paul Craig. So Paul Craig is plus 130. He's plus 130 to win, okay? He's a submission specialist. 13 of his wins have come by submission. So if you think Paul Craig is going to win, it's going to be by submission. So if you can get him by submission, it's plus 250. So there's no reason at all to take Paul Craig just to win. He's not great on his feet, and he's fighting a striker. It's a classic, striker versus grappler. He's not going to win by decision. Like if this goes the distance, there's no shot that Paul Craig wore him out and did all this. And the other thing, Paul Craig likes submitting guys from the bottom. He doesn't go in for these aggressive takedowns. He loves getting the fighter on top of him and going for triangles and for going for arm bars. So if you're looking at taking Paul Craig to win, there's absolutely no reason why you should take him on the plus 130 to win. You just take him by submission. If he's either going to lose or he's going to win Andy. By submission. Yeah.
I got to jump in because Craig is the guy I was just talking about without saying his name. So that's hilarious that you say that. And I love how you're saying nobody should take him on the money, because honestly, that's been a recent adjustment to my handicap.
Sorry.
Honestly, no, it's all good. But it's funny. It's awesome you say that, because that is a recent adjustment to my handicapping where I am releasing guys on the money line, and I get what you're saying. We know their method of victory. So I have Craig to win on the money line, and I also have Craig to win via submission. And the reason why, Andy, is that there have been times before, and I get it. This is his pathway to victory for sure. We both know it. That's why. But there's been times recently for me where I haven't taken a guy at a minus 125, money line, let's say, or instead of doing that, I've taken their method of victory that I thought they would win. Let's say I take someone by KO, and they end up out of nowhere having a rare submission. And I'm like, wow, I could have bet this guy at minus 125 just to win. And I chose the method of victory, and he shocked the world, so that's, I'm saying, especially with Craig, he is a guy that we can make the case, like, why are you taking the money line? But I'm on both, and I'm not, same unit size, but I think for some fighters, if you can get decent enough odds, it's kind of worthwhile doing it, just because, if they somehow surprise you and end up winning the fight in a different way than you're not expecting, you at least still win that bet. But with somebody like Molly McCann this weekend, like, I have her be a decision, Patty the Batty. I'm betting him, inside the distance, right? And there's, especially when you're trying to get better odds, it just makes sense to get it down. But I love that you said that, because I was talking about him without saying his name, and then you were like, yeah, nobody money line. Anyway, that's just kind of what I'm doing right now, Andy. And hey, yeah, hopefully I'll just cash both tickets.
I'll give you one more example of when I use method of finish, and then we can move on to some NFL things. So, replacement fighters. We had a situation where David Onama got a really, really kind of a can, if you will. Like, David Onama is gonna really beat the heck out of this guy, and he was minus 600. But if you want to just take inside the distance, you can knock him down to like minus 200. So I think it's a really good value when you get these like replacement guys where it's like Dana White goes to him, is like, hey, can you save this fight? I know you fight on the regional scene, and I know you're going to come in and you're probably going to get killed, but you're going to get a nice little payday, and I'll guarantee you another fight in the UFC when you have a full camp. So when I see situations like that, and the David Onama fight, he knocked the guy out. No, I think he subbed him, but it was an easy cash. And it was like, if you took Onama to win, you were laying minus 600. If you took him inside the distance, you were laying minus 200. So I have Paddy Pimblett listed here. You mentioned finish. Yeah, by TKOs plus 200. If he does beat Levitt, it's going to be by a finish. That's what Paddy Pimblett does. And then Aspinall in the main event, I like him by finish at plus 120. We know Blades is going to try and wrestle. I think Aspinall is just way, way too fast to fall for some of the Blades wrestling and everything. So, yeah.
I'm
Andrew
on under 2.5 in that one, Andy, so I'm with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So Andrew's got a really loaded UFC pack that's up. I've got a 5% play, so go grab those on WagerTalk.com. All right, gentlemen, I want to bring you guys in. I thought we could do this here. NFL is right around the corner. Matt, you've got your big 5% play up, and we're constantly looking to see where value is right now. I've got a 5% week 1 play that is up on WagerTalk.com, and with that, we'll get all of the I'm throwing in all the futures that we're going to do for that one. So what I wanted to do here, guys, and I want to pull up these lines. I wanted to go over, everyone talks about the division winners. I want to go through and give you the second team in each division and see if there's any value on taking the second team. So I want to go through here. So the AFC West, the Chiefs are the favorite. The Chargers are plus 220. They're the second favorite in that division. NFC East, the Cowboys are the favorite. The Eagles are the second favorite. They're plus 165. The AFC South, the Colts are the favorite. The Titans are plus 170. They're the second favorite. NFC North, the Packers, huge favorite at minus 190. You can get the Vikings at plus 265. The AFC East, the Bills are a huge favorite. The Dolphins are plus 450. They're the second favorite. NFC South, the Buccaneers, huge favorite. The Saints are plus 360. The NFC West, the Rams are the favorite. The 49ers are just behind them at plus 150. And the AFC North, this is a jumbled mess for the AFC North. The Ravens are technically the favorite. The Bengals are just behind them at plus 190. So, Matt, I want to come to you. Of those teams, what do you think might be the best team that is the second favorite in their division? Because I got to tell you, my favorite, I love your Eagles at plus 165. I don't know if you agree, if you got another team that you circled. So what do you think about the second favorite team in these divisions?
I, at the risk of not sounding like a home. I mean, I think the Eagles are going to win the division. I think that's definitely a good bet, but I think the better one's the Chargers. I mean, I think I am not a Chiefs guy this year. Spoiler alert, one of the things that I like is the under and the Chiefs win total this year. I just think the Chargers finally put it all together. Now, the biggest problem they're going to have is Brandon Staley going forward on fourth down every time. I mean, I think that's going to be an issue. And we laugh, but he did it in some inopportune times. And it's just, if he continues to be like that with a team, like the Chargers in the past, they were good, but they weren't great. Like, this team has a really good defense. If everyone stays healthy, Derwin James could be Defensive Player of the Year potentially. And their offense has a lot of weapons too. Like, this is a team that's ready-made. So I actually think the Chargers win that division. I'm not high on the Chiefs. And of course, yes, I agree with you. I think the Eagles are another bet, but I believe you said the Chargers price was actually better than the Eagles price. So by that standard, I think I like the Chargers more than the Eagles to win their division at that price.
Yeah, the Chargers are plus 220 on DraftKings right now to win the AFC West. And in the NFC East, the Eagles are plus 165. I personally like the Eagles a little bit more just because I think Washington and the Giants are kind of right off. So I think that division is kind of a two-horse race. Whereas, AFC West, that is a loaded division. But I agree with you on the Chiefs. I don't think their offense their offense sputtered, and that loss they had to Cincinnati was so brutal. That could be hanging over their heads. Andrew, coming to you, what do you think any of these teams, the second favorite in the division that catch your eye? We got the Bengals, the 49ers, the Saints, Dolphins, Vikings, Titans, Eagles, Chargers. What are your thoughts on the second favorites in these divisions?
I think that I think the Dolphins one is really good. I like what they have. I think they're pretty much a dual threat team. I think they can run the ball. They're going to be able to throw the ball. I mean, I hope so anyway. We're hearing good things and seeing good things out of Tua anyway. And I think that, that division is going to be competitive, but I think that's a pretty good bet. What were the odds you said on that again, Andy?
The Dolphins are sitting at plus 450.
That's not bad.
Josh Allen injury?
I like Matt's Charger. No, what was to come second? Wasn't that what you were saying?
Well, no, I'm saying what these teams that are second, that they're the second favorites in the division. Like, which one has the best chance to win the division? So, yeah, each division has their favorite, which I think most people will gravitate towards. But what are the teams that are the second favorite in the division? Is there any value in them? And right now, you're getting the Dolphins at plus 450, which you can write off the Jets. So you're down, you're down to three teams there, and you got Mac Jones with nobody to throw to, and the Bills are one Josh Allen injury away from being a pretty rough team.
Yeah, looking at the divisions that are 2-horse races and stuff like that, that's kind of obviously the way you want to look at it. I really like what Matt said though with the Chargers. I think that's a strong pick, and I think they're going to be even better this year. And you hate to have that, well, what if this guy gets injured or what if that guy gets injured? But really, that's what you have to look at sometimes when you're handicapping these futures and you're taking a look at some of this stuff. And what I want to look for is depth and teams that have multiple options and can both run the ball and throw the ball. And, at some value like that. And even, people will call me crazy for saying that about the Dolphins. But realistically, I'm hearing great things. I'm high on them this year. And, everybody's, hey, it sounds to me like the Bills have already won the Super Bowl, guys. I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm not marking that as a win just yet. I mean, it seems like on Twitter, everyone's they're automatically the champions already.
You're right. And these preseason predictions to win the Super Bowl always go well. They always work. I don't know if you got there's no injuries or turmoil.
Guys get made. All the Bills Super Bowl champions tattoos you see, those always work, right?
I like the Eagles there. I would also say that the Vikings at plus 265 now in that division. I think you can write off the Lions and the Bears and Packers. Just not sure what that passing game is going to look like. It's a passing league, and when Alan Lazard is your number one wide receiver, I have questions on that. So,
come on, Andy.
I'm
it's
sorry.
Sammy Watkins, by the way. It's not Alan Lazard. Come on.
That's way worse. At least Alan Lazard is going to be there for the whole season. He's not going to be holding his ankle or his hamstring after the first couple of weeks. So, all right, guys, we're going to get to our prop it up best week real quick. Matt Joseph from sportsmemo.com. Tell us what you got going on over there and where we can find you at.
There is a 5% NFL win total up right now that has my other win totals in the package as well. And baseball's not up yet for today. Still doing some work on it, but we will have that up. And then potentially soon a 5% college football win total that we absolutely love. That's coming next week, most likely.
I'm so excited to get your 5% college win total. You got me hanging on by a thread. You're so good at that. So really excited for that. All right, Andrew.
And Matt doesn't release a lot of 5% plays either. So everybody out there, jump on these, because when I hear that Matt has a 5% play, it's like, let me know what it is right now.
It's like there's a unicorn walking through my backyard. Like, oh my God. Great stuff from Matt Josephs at sportsmemo.com. All right, Andrew. Tell us what you got going on, and then just jump right in. It is your turn for the Prop It Up Bet of the Week. Coming off a win last week, let's keep it going. What you got for us?
Yeah, CFL Friday Night Lights game tonight. I've got to pick up for that. Like I said, big UFC card. Both Andy and I are looking forward to cashing in. Don't forget to grab Andy's 5% play. But I've got a big card, one 4% play, and then a bunch of 2% and 1% plays. But those all add up. And a couple of victory at some nice plus money. So you guys check that out, WagerTalk.com. And guys, I'm going with the CFL team total here, with a team that's treated us here on the show and my clients pretty well so far this season. The Edmonton Elks, their team total over 19.5 points. They've reached this in 3 of the last 4 games. They've cashed that. Winnipeg, their opponent, has given up at least 20 to their opponent in 2 of their last 3. And I hate to throw out these cliche handicapping terms, but I really think this could be a letdown spot for Winnipeg. And I don't think they show up focused here. I think Edmonton's motivated in this one. They got to give their home crowd, a good performance. And they've played better on the road, which is weird. But I'm looking forward to a good matchup for them here at home. And their offense has really gotten better. It's just been their defense that is just, they're giving up a lot of points. So I'm isolating the team total for the Edmonton Elks to get it done for us, to get 20 points over 19.5 CFL team total play, Edmonton Elks.
There it is. That's your Prop It Up Bet of the Week. We're going with a CFL team total. Great stuff from Andrew McInnis. Find everything at WagerTalk.com. Matt Josephs at SportsMemo.com. I'm Andy Lang. All my picks can be found at WagerTalk.com. And for the rest of July, everything is half price. Fantastic value. You can get 5% plays. You can get daily packs for certain sports. I've got 5% UFC play up, as well as a 5% NFL Week 1 pack that is up right now. And don't forget auto racing. We got NASCAR and Formula One this week, hitting 64% this year in auto racing. Really proud of that. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. That is Andrew McInnis at WagerTalk.com, Matt Josephs at SportsMemo.com. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com. Let's have a great weekend. Let's cash all those bets, and we will see you next week on Prop It Up.
With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, 29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.